Okay. Thank you for joining the meeting, everyone. First of all, so the KubeCon Shanghai is around the corner, actually. I don't think folks on the call will go to China, right? Anyone?
I'm going to China.
Oh, great. I think Doc will be there as well. So the week before last week, last meeting we were talking about have a meetup, a just gather up, maybe on the November 15th. Is the time working for you, Jonathan?
What day of the week is that?
November 15th. It's like the last day of the KubeCon.
I should be around then, yeah.
Okay, cool. So the idea is to have like either we could do a meetup with the Chinese developer using the working group deep dive session, or we just have a separate gather up, like find a Starbucks or cafe or somewhere to do a gather up after the conference. So which one do you prefer?
I would prefer something around the time of the deep dive session, just because I have a lot of responsibilities for the other SIGs I'm a part of, and I don't know how that's going on because everything's still being scheduled. So that would be my preference.
Okay, so during the deep dive session, not after the conference, right?
Well, I figured it would be after the session. Maybe I
Okay,
didn't.
okay, after conference gathering.
Yeah, that
Okay,
should be fine.
okay. Yeah, I figured that might be the. So I will send out like separate email. So the point of this meetup is to, we can get to know each other face to face and also see if there are folks from China, is interested, in our line of work, and we could, help them uh, to get started quickly. Okay. After conference. Okay, great. So I'll be traveling to the OpenSec Summit from November 10th to 14th. So I'm hoping there's no delay on the flight, so I can manage to catch the conference on the last day. So it will be a crazy schedule. Okay, Erica, have you been like participating in the SAFE working group meeting?
Yes, I have.
Any update from recent?
Let me refresh my memory by looking at the notes. A lot of, governance talk, categorizing the security landscape. We had some, let's see. If anyone is interested in being a research assistant for it, wants to do a little.
They're recruiting or?
Kind of, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, we've had presentations from the InToto people. From
InToto, that's like the company name or?
No, it's Tough 2.0. I don't know, it's not 2.0, but it is around securing the supply chain. So using, cryptographic signatures to verify a chain across, from code to running environment.
Is a blockchain startup or?
No, it comes out of, I think, NYU's. I can find the. I think there was a video. So some talk about compliance if people are particularly interested in compliance. One thing kind of cube that came up was maybe, I forgot about this, but strengthening audit logging a bit so that it has the option to fully fail the requests from the API server if it does not successfully log and save that audit log. That was a good suggestion that apparently is pretty actually feasible to do. If we want to strengthen one little thing in Cube. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, the other thing was in SIGAuth today, there's a presentation on an admission plugin using OPA. So that was another relevant thing that came up today. I think it came from Azure.
That's on the SIGAuth meeting or the
that was the SIGAuth meeting today.
Yeah, I saw the tweets actually yesterday. The Azure support for OP. Torian would be over the moon.
I think he was there, yeah. I think I saw him there. So for the safe working group, I guess I can say for if anyone has specific external projects or groups that they're interested in learning more about or getting some kind of synchronizing with Kubernetes, let me know. We can see if either they're coming or regularly do come to the safe working group.
Okay.
Or if anyone is looking for areas to get involved, like with defining standards and compliance suites, there's also work to do there.
I thought standard was like part of the non-go. what happened to that?
Well, there's a lot of different groups who work on standards who are really desperate for help, so they kind of ask all the time if people would want to contribute.
Okay. I will check the meeting minutes. Anyways, so how's the feedback for the OPA plugin demo?
I didn't think many people had a whole lot of feedback. I think most of the questions were from Tim, who's very familiar with the problem space. It seemed like it had a little bit more. It was a feature rich than the other built kind of admission controllers we've seen with OPA. It has features like kind of like audit ability, or we're just on audit only mode. Better kind of like reporting of what got denied and why. And it also, I think, can show one advantage to using OPA for interoperability among different tooling. It did not have like priority ordering, so I don't know if that's something that OPA itself kind of deals with and handles, or if that's something priority or how the policy is composed, or if that's something you would need to kind of suggest ways to them how they could do it. Or
cool. Okay. Okay, since Doc is not here, have you talked to Clayton.
We've had a little bit more interruptions come up recently.
So yeah, talking about that. So how's life on the Blue Hat?
Yeah, it's confusing. It's weird. It's a weird time. Obviously nothing's really actually changing for a while, but a lot of all hands meetings. For sure.
So we'll so I saw from the news Red Hat will running like a independent department, or
That's what they tell us. That we will stay neutral.
okay.
And open.
I guess you will talk to Michael a lot.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
So many items, anything. Well, Easter is not on the call, so.
It'd be good to have him come though again, because I would like an update on some of the namespace population or an initializer discussion.
Yeah, I think last time he mentioned it's still pretty early. Initializer. Yeah. So there's one update. Let me find the. I think I read it. And, so the service topology.
That got moved? There was a change, right?
But it's just a super weird changing to KEP. Yes. Oh shit. I don't think the Apple content changed, but it just moved to the KEP format, I guess. Okay, so for the policy resource format, so do you think we can start the discussion based upon your policy document?
Things I think we can do, which probably can have its own document, are.
I really like your document, by the way.
Thank you. We can append to it, but I guess if we want to be very concrete about some of the things, we seem to mostly be settled on you're probably going to use namespace or label selectors for specifying which things policies apply to. That the namespace selectors for the kind of admin case and label selectors on probably most likely your pod resources for something else. We can also, I think, be at least what we're going with for now on what priorities that you have a kind of firewall model of priorities. So these are things I think we can start being more concrete. The last comment, which is also the thing I had been concerned about, is it gets very, very, very confusing very quickly when you start mixing the scheduling topologies with policies. Or the scheduling topologies with the policy. This might be something very specific to scheduling, where it's really an overlap of a policy on a policy. So that's what that last comment was about, and where we're hung up right now.
Okay, I'm really confused. But anyway.
So I think the to-do for is we can start with kind of maybe a PR somewhere, actually, maybe that makes sense, of here's our recommended policy composition format. And kind of, yeah, I think we can start. Especially for priorities and selectors. And actions of deny and allow.
Yeah. So how's the scheduling process? The team has a bunch of new comments.
It's never ending. Yeah, it's right now, it gets very confusing because if you look at, yeah, you can see how confusing this is. You have kind of these semantics for like tolerations. And to specify something on top of it gets very complicated.
Required during scheduling, ignore during. Okay. So I will try to start a document so that we can collaborate on.
Yes.
Hopefully, we could get
Since
some. Yep.
Since this is the only, I think, scheduling, and there's very few places that will be making policies on top of selectors, I think we should be okay. Yeah. To start going.
Okay. So that's all the items I want to cover for today. Anyone else on the call have any other business?
Hey all, this is Shri from Pivotal.
Hi.
I'm new to this working group, just trying to understand the context here. But I had one question, which was more around, are we thinking about policy which can potentially cut across Kubernetes clusters, like more of like a global policy? Is any working group looking into that at all, or?
I do know, at least internally, that there are the policies for federation, for instance, workload placement,
Okay.
or syncing of policies across. I can check about what that looks like upstream, since I'm not sure.
Okay, so from a federation perspective, you're saying that placement could potentially happen across clusters, like workloads could be placed across clusters. So that's one area of investment right now?
Yes, and specifically mostly done within the multi-cluster SIG, I believe.
Multi-cluster SIG, okay.
I try to keep an eye on it.
Okay.
Make sure that it's consistent. But yeah, so that'll be fun when we have another layer of scheduling policy.
Okay. But apart from like the placement itself, when it comes to IAM across clusters, is that also part of the this multi-cluster SIG, or is that something that you would potentially be discussing on your roadmap, like as part of this working group?
Are you for like? There's there's some building blocks that still need to happen in the SIG auth area to make kind of cross-cluster authentication and cloud provider integrations work better.
Mm-hmm.
So I think really we haven't brought that up much because there's just the work ongoing in SIG auth to get to the point where we can start talking about that from a policy point of view is not quite there.
I see. Another naive question. So if in this working group, are you doing more of like design of what the policy needs to be? So how does work get distributed? Like who's actually going and implementing this? Like how is that coordinated?
Yeah, I would say we mostly are trying design wise and advising and trying to make sure that all initiatives kind of come start standardizing on what policy looks like for each of like the individual proposals and such. It's just whoever has kind of latched onto that. If you are looking for work, anyone can.
No, I'm not coming from an engineering. I used to be an engineer, moved into product management, but I'm just trying to understand, like how this all works. I mean, I'm pretty sure I can go look up some videos or read some documents, but just like interested in like what, like since you are in this, have been in this for some time, like you have a better insight into the inner workings of the community.
Yeah, so we typically we're inclined to a bottom-up approach. So we try not to draft something really high level and try to enforce it. So basically, we want to collect the individuals has been working on area that related to policy, and we get people together to discuss and during the work group session and try to then summary up these are the activities and what will the landscape looks like. So in this way we'll not be like out of touch, just talk the talk.
Right.
Yeah. So but as you also know, there's a CNCF level safe working group, I guess.
Yeah.
The policy is also part of the working group goal, and there will be a lot of high-level architecture talk over that group, I think, because it touches upon CNCF. So that'll be across like OPA, Istio, SPIFFE, and Kubernetes. Yeah.
I see. So in the safe working group is where like most of the high level sort of strategy around policy is being, or the direction is being set there. Would you say that?
Yeah, we hope that's the role of the safe working group.
It's a little early.
Yeah, it's
for safe.
It's very early.
I think
I used to attend those calls actually, but then I dropped midway. To be very frank. So.
The bigger, because it's at the bigger scale, that both means it's going to probably be a little bit slower, and that there's also more politics involved, I would say. So I can understand it's keeping up with it. I think like the gems of really getting somewhere can be a little far in between.
No,
but it's really great. I really do love about the safe working group is hearing the perspectives from outside of Kubernetes.
No, that's true. That's true. Yeah. But are you saying that like separate from this meeting, there is like working group sessions that happen wherein you're discussing like the lower level, like implementation details? Like is there a meeting that happens separate from this meeting?
No, this meeting is meant to have the specific discussions, and the safe one is more for high level and idea,
I see. So implementation gets discussed in this meeting. So whoever is interested actually picks up this and implements this.
As well as whichever SIG is kind of the umbrella SIG for the particular project that's being done.
Yeah.
So for instance, if it's touching on something that's in the API machinery or the scheduler, etc. So that's one of the reasons where a working group is, because so many projects across different SIGs have policy, and they're the ones who will probably help and be the most, like nitpicky about the specifics of implementation.
Okay. So like from a IAM perspective, would you recommend that like SIGAuth is the place where most of the discussions are happening then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other topic? All right. I guess we can conclude the meeting earlier, and I will upload the video recording as usual. And okay, see you guys. We might need to cancel the meeting next week since I'm again on trip. So Erica, if you want to host, you can.
Okay. Next week.
Yeah. Or we just cancel and discuss on either the Google group or email.
Probably we should cancel since it sounds like so many of you will be there. But
yeah. Okay. Anyways. Okay. See you guys either next week or the week next at KubeCon.
Yeah.
thanks. Have fun at KubeCon.
Thank you. Bye bye.